Let me paint you a scenario real quick. You and your boy are in school, you're in your classes talking about whatever you guys talk about. You then head to lunch and your boy tells you, yo bro, have you seen the new Civil War trailer? You guys watch it, it looks incredible, you guys discuss it, you talk about what you think is going to happen in the movie, but then it happens. Man, Team Cap for life. I'm with my boy Steve Rogers till the day I die. You then get into an argument back and forth about whether Iron Man or Cap is right, who you should be supporting, etc. And this was basically the entire internet for the few months leading up to this film. Hell, you still have people arguing to this day over who was in the right. This discourse genuinely split apart friendship groups. You had people talking about the justification of the Sokovia Accords and why the Avengers need them. Then you had the dudes talking about government corruption and why Cap is in the right on the Avengers being private. Then you had the dudes who only cared about being on whatever team Spidey and Black Panther were on with no engagement in what the teams actually represent. That's me, I'm dudes. So give me a break, alright? I wasn't really conscious back then, but looking back, Civil War genuinely broke the internet apart. It was a wild time. I don't think the MCU has ever been so split on something, but that just speaks to how strong the movie made people feel. The biggest split of the movie obviously being the Accords. I think it's only right we head into that one first. Now I admit, even though I was Team Tony back then, that was mainly just because Spider-Man and Black Panther were on the team, but I want to focus on the meat of the movie, which are the Accords itself, and it's the main split and discussion of whether Tony or Cap is in the right. And after rewatching the film, I can't honestly help but feel that Tony does have a decent point here when it comes to the Accords and the Avengers being kept in check. Now before I jump into this, there are certain accounts that the movie gives as a way to justify the Accords which I find really stupid. Ross slapping on footage of New York City and the Winter Soldier as if this is the Avengers' fault. This is also the same dude who's a big reason as to why Bruce went on a rampage a while back. But no one seems to question that, nor do they push back on that, which is kind of strange. Like, a lot of this isn't even our fault. But I think it's really interesting. It's easy for us to say, watching this from the perspective of the Avengers, and side with their liberties and personal convictions and trust that. But imagine if we were regular civilians, a private group of superpowered individuals being able to just run around with these potentially world-ending powers without any sort of oversight would kind of have me on edge, I'm not gonna lie. Like, damn, someone like Wanda can really just be let to run free, especially after what she's done with Ultron, and especially later on in WandaVision. It's moments like these which kind of make me understand why people want the Accords and why I think Tony has decent points. Keep in mind, just last year, a world-ending meteorite was going to destroy the entire planet because of what the Avengers did. You don't just ignore that. And 117 countries wanting to sign it is a big deal. We don't exactly get a huge look into what the Sokovia Accords actually entail, but I don't think it's crazy to say that the Avengers might need some sort of oversight rather than completely running free. Not completely giving up their control, but not being free to do whatever they want without consequence. But enough talk about that. Let's be real. Most people who were on Team Iron Man were there because of Black Panther and Spider-Man, and it honestly is understandable. I genuinely think Black Panther is at his best in Civil War. He was a genuine beast here, and I get that he had to be more tamed down in Black Panther because he's more at home and in his element, so he doesn't have to do all that chest puffing. But here Black Panther is a killer. Like, this dude is menacing. And it's not just about his demeanor, but his suit too. This will always be T'Challa's best suit, and no, there will be zero debate on that. He looks like a panther here. He looks like someone who's out for blood, like an actual killer. He's got no time for anyone else but Bucky, and it's awesome. Also, in this scene, Sam makes fun of T'Challa for dressing like a cat, but he dresses like a bird, and on top of that, his suit isn't even nearly as cool. But an even bigger standout to me is obviously that it is Peter's first appearance. He genuinely had to be there when Spider-Man appeared in the trailer. This had dudes going crazy. The hype was genuinely insane. But focusing more on Peter, I want to start with this scene right here with Peter and Tony, which in my view is one of Peter's best moments in the MCU, because to me, this is sort of Peter's responsibility scene.
I read books, I build computers. And yeah, I would love to play football. But I couldn't then, so I shouldn't now.
Sure, because you're different.
Exactly. But I can't tell anybody that, so I'm not. Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Yes, he gets it later in No Way Home officially, but unofficially, this to me is Peter's responsibility scene. It's his why. It explains his motives for why he's Spider-Man and why he does what he does. Because when he doesn't, that's when the bad things happen. And I can't help but feel he's obviously talking about Uncle Ben's murder here, but obviously that's a bit more up to interpretation. His line where he says he would love to play football, but he couldn't before he got his powers, so he shouldn't now, is the pure example of responsibility. Even if the word itself isn't uttered out loud, it's still very strongly implied, and I honestly think it's better that way. Don't get me wrong, I love a good he said the line moment, but something just hits different when they don't say with great power comes great responsibility, but imply or even say it in a different way. Even beyond this scene, Spider-Man is great in this movie though. His back and forth with Cap, taking down Sam and Bucky with ease, devising a plan to take down Ant-Man was all awesome to see. Also, maybe it's just me, but this definitely would have killed Bucky. I have no idea what Peter was thinking here. But while Peter is great in this movie, he's definitely not the best character in this movie, because that title would go to Zemo. He is also one of the few villains who have actually quote-unquote won against the good guys in the MCU, but even saying that Zemo's the bad guy and the Avengers are the good guys in this movie is a little difficult knowing the context. Imagine your entire family gets wiped out because of the proposed heroes of the world made a murderous robot who wanted to wipe out humanity, and then after that they all just went home. I think anyone in this position would feel understandably angry, and I do get where he's coming from. Looking back at Age of Ultron, which by the way is way too overhated, but that is a topic for another day, the ending was way too lighthearted in my opinion, because think about it, it was mainly Tony and Bruce, but we'll say the Avengers just for the sake of it. The Avengers made Ultron. Ultron destroys the entirety of Sokovia. An untold number of people died because of it. Sure, a lot was saved, but a huge amount died too. And then Tony, Steve and Thor are making jokes about Mjolnir and whether it stops an elevator from going up. Not to mention Wanda is now somehow a member of the Avengers after everything she did to help Ultron while being a whole 26 freaking years old, by the way, so not exactly a kid, and they all go their merry way. Sure, they stopped the world from being destroyed, but you guys are literally responsible for needing it to be saved in the first place. It's realizations like this where you think maybe Zemo's justified in splaying the Avengers apart and seeking their destruction. It also does help that Zemo's just a regular guy, no superpowers, no super strength, speed or durability of any kind, but just a smart guy who had all the right cards and played them all incredibly. Daniel Bruhl plays him incredibly well, and you can feel his anger towards the Avengers, especially in this scene.
I've thought about nothing else for over a year. I studied you. I followed you. But now that you're standing here, I just realized there's a bit of green in the blue of your eyes.
Beautiful, just beautiful. One of my favorite villains in the MCU ever, and his reappearance in Falcon and the Winter Soldier was incredible and probably one of the only good things to come out of that, but still great. But Civil War is great. The acting, especially from Chris Evans and RDJ, especially in that scene where Tony finds out about his parents, just perfect. Performance is incredible all around. T'Challa and Peter's entrances were incredible. Only strong negative I can think about, to be honest, is that this is where we start getting the fake plastic looking Iron Man armors, especially that brutal flowing head look of Doom, but it doesn't ruin the film much at all. It's still a great film, and that's why I'm going to give Civil War a 9 out of 10. But that's it for today, guys. I want to say once again thank you for tuning into another video of mine, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Let me know if you disagree or agree. Maybe you think Civil War is actually a terrible movie, even though you'd be wrong. Please tell me why. But again, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.